Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on a football Friday on Bettor Sports Network. I got Howard Bender back with me, as he will be on Fridays. Oh, he's boxing. Oh. We got no, I don't think we're talking boxing on the show today. Oh, a bare knuckler boxer. We got football. It was a fun Thursday night football game last night, but we're looking at all of these Sunday games. We'll be giving out some game picks, giving out player props, touchdown predictions, all that on today's show with Howard. What's up, man?
What's going on, dude? It was a very interesting game last night. I mean, I was on the Eagles covering the spread, and it would have happened, if Rashad Penny wasn't such a jackass and got called for holding on A.J. Brown's touchdown. That would have changed the dynamic of that game because that would have put the Eagles way up and would have deflated the Vikings a little bit more. And maybe the Vikings come back and score one more touchdown, but definitely not the two that they did late in that game. So, interesting stuff there. Justin Jefferson getting his touchdown, kind of ruled against that. That was, that was kind of a weird one. But, I mean, listen, I was I had the Eagles laying the points, but I had the over. And then, put on your earmuffs if you don't want to hear bad words, but I effing crushed it on the props last night. I mean, Devonta Smith anytime touchdown, Devonta Smith over his receiving yards, which was 61.5. Over 4.5 receptions for TJ Hawkinson. What was the other one? There was one more. I can't remember what it was. But the one that I missed was Justin Jefferson. I had the under 7.5 receptions. I was listening for the from Bernard's got that somewhere in the holster. So that was the one that I missed. But I mean, I would say, between my props and my game picks to go 5-2 last night, combined with the 8-1 from last week, dude, we're getting the season started properly. Where it's always good. You strike while the iron's hot, and if you're looking at games in the right way, then it's gonna hit. It's definitely gonna hit. So I love it, man.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, if you followed Howard's bets, you cashed. I had the Eagles too. Gave it out on yesterday's show. Listen, it was the right read in my opinion. I mean, they, like you mentioned it, and that there was another one. AJ Brown should have caught another touchdown pass besides the holding penalty. He kind of got interfered with, I thought. That could have been a touchdown.
I think that's the Eagles fan in you on
it
that.
Might be. It might be, but
the over the shoulder kind of thing, like that little pull. I mean,
listen,
come on, didn't the play-by-play, not the play-by-play guy, the rules guy, when they went to like that, immediately he was like, well, you're slowing it down like that. You don't see it. And when it happens, in real time, it's bam, bam, bang or something like that.
What, Terry? I'm not listening to a word Terry says these days. Trust me. The amount I like Dean Blandino, the amount I actually listen to what these guys say is close to zero. Okay.
Like a Charlie Brown cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, all right, let's bring in Terry. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really see it. I was eating my sandwich.
Oh, it's like Sirius XM's Dr. Chow updates. I was giving my kids a bath. I missed the whole thing. Man. Do you know what happened?
My video review. So anyway,
it's such a great. I don't even know. Were you my producer when that happened?
Yeah.
On Sirius XM.
This is at like midnight Eastern time, and then I'm sitting in studio.
Like a Sunday. Why are you bathing your kids so late?
Let's get this back on track. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. So good call on that one. I also had Hawkinson's receptions, so that was I'm with you on that one. Missed on Goddard's receiving yards. He had 6 catches, but only had 22 yards. So go figure. But yeah, so some hits and misses. But yeah, we're turning the page to Sunday, and we got plenty of games to break down. At the end of the show, we'll also give out some baseball picks for tonight because why not get some action on tonight's slate before we got college football tomorrow and the NFL on Sunday. So let's just start right out with Sunday's slate. I'll let you have this. Any game you want to go to, I'll let you dive in. So where are you going?
All right. You know what? I'm going to go with the Bills minus 8.5. Now, I mean, I was ready to take it at Bills minus 9. So the fact that there's Raider money coming in on this game, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because a lot of people just love the Raiders. And when you're sitting there in Las Vegas, and you're looking to lay some action, you're like, Raiders. Yeah. So, maybe that's come down that way, but man, I think that this is a get right game for Josh Allen. I'm not going to say they punish them, but he gets his nice and early. Then James Cook gets the ball in the second half and just, they kind of run it out. And, maybe, Jimmy G's not like a big INT guy. So I'm not, thinking of any kind of late defensive turnover like that, but I think they can definitely shut him down for this one here. So Bills minus 8, it's minus 110, 8.5. I would have bet it at 9. So I don't think there's any reason to even think about, betting the half point down to 8. Just leave it as is right now. And happy Bills.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I love that you put this one in there because it probably would have been one of my leans too. I think it should be a 2-score win at least for the Bills. They're going to come out angry. They're going to come out motivated. I have a player prop in this game. I know you do too for the Bills side of things because I do think the offense is going to really come out and show out. I think this spread, by the time kickoff comes around on Sunday afternoon, I feel like this spread's going to be closer to 10. It might hit the 9. I feel like there's going to be money coming in on the Bills, in my opinion. So I think this is a great, 8.5 is kind of scary because it's like, all right, they need to win by 2 scores, legit. So it's a little scary, but I like your confidence that it's going to go.
I'm good.
You're good. Yeah, I'm good with it too. All right, I'll go to the Falcons. Give me the Falcons money line. This spread is actually flipped into the Falcons' favor over this past week. Packers were favored. Now it's Atlanta minus 1.5 on the spread, but I'll just take the money line minus 122 on DraftKings to win straight up here. I think, early in the week, I think we talked about it, Howard. It might have been, I talked about it with John too, but the Packers were being overvalued, I thought, on the spread, being favored on the road at Atlanta. I thought they were being way too overvalued based on winning on the road at Chicago last week, but the Falcons are a better team than the Bears are, and I thought they were getting disrespect. So I like that the line has moved now and flipped in Atlanta's favor. I'm following that movement because I think that's the right read. And the Falcons defense, we talked about it this offseason, made improvements on that side of the ball. And they really frustrated, rookie Bryce Young last week in that game. I see a similar thing happening with Jordan Love. Now that they have, a game of tape on Love, see what he did well, see what he struggled with. I think they're going to really frustrate him. Obviously not a rookie, but just a young quarterback on the road for another start here. I like the Falcons here. So give me Atlanta on the money line.
Yeah, I love the money line bet here. Absolutely. I would definitely do it. I think you originally had it at 125. I saw it go down to minus 122 on DK. So I made a little change for you there.
Oh, appreciate it. I was wondering why that number changed, but
I'm here for you, buddy. I'm here for you. Cause I don't think you're going to find a bigger Atlanta Falcons truther than me.
I know you've been on them too. Yeah.
Who I've been so on the Falcons. And now all of a sudden you're taking Aaron Jones out of the equation. Christian Watson is still out. Romeo Dobbs has still been very limited. You look at it and you look at I think the big boost is Luke Musgrave. Everybody's in on Luke Musgrave. So his receptions props are going to be out of control. His receiving yards props are going to be out of control. And so beware of that. Just kind of, or just, maybe hit the unders on that, because I think a lot of people are going to, kind of exaggerate what could happen. I think the Falcons with their defense, listen, once you have AJ Terrell and Jeffrey Okudah on the other side, because I believe Okudah is back this week.
I think so too. Yeah.
So that's your outside coverage right there. You bring that safety in there to handle the tight end work, for sure. I mean, it's not the exact formula that we're going to see from the Falcons, but I mean, listen, I like this bet. It's Jordan Love with fewer weapons against a much better defense, and it's on the road. And I mean, listen, I think there's so much kind of just bubbling up about the Falcons. And listen, I've been stirring this pot since draft day. Super pumped about it. So excited. Give me the Falcons, baby. I love that bet. I'm going to go to my next one here. This is one that I get it because it's on the road. Indianapolis Colts plus 1.5 here. It's minus 112 on DK. I think people are kind of overvaluing the Texans defense. I mean, it did, it crumbled against the against the Ravens, and whatever. I thought the Ravens, were gonna, they didn't need to pass the ball. They just kept running the ball, and that was just kind of what happened. So, when you start talking about actual numbers of what the Texans defense gave up in the passing game, I mean, look at how great of a game Zay Flowers had. You didn't need to involve Odell Beckham. You didn't need to involve. You didn't even have Mark Andrews. So focus on that side. So I think that we're overvaluing this Houston Texans defense way too much. Anthony Richardson looked good. All right. I think Michael Pittman looks good. And I just feel like, as a road dog here, I mean, obviously you can bet the money line too, because, if you're betting the Colts plus 1.5, you might as well just bet them on the money line as well to win this game outright. That's kind of what I'm banking on here. I didn't really like a lot of what I saw in CJ Stroud, and that wasn't just because of the Ravens defense. Colts road dogs here for me, Servo.
I like it. Good call. This was one I just wanted to stay away from because I don't know what to think of either offense, just because of last week. I do think that your call on the Texans defense being a little overrated, because I think the Ravens offense under Todd Monk in that first game, we're still trying to work out some things, trying to figure things out with Mark Andrews, as you mentioned, being out. So I think it says more about the Ravens trying to work through their stuff rather than the Texans defense just holding them down. So Richardson, listen, he's exciting. He could have, we talked about it, I think on Monday, where he could have scored a touchdown in that game at the end to make it interesting.
I'm glad he didn't, though. We're glad he didn't. No,
we are.
Backdoor covers, dude. They'll screw you every time.
So, all right. So that's a good call in there. I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks plus 5 against the Lions here. This is also a line that's moved a little bit. If you want to look around and see if there's a 5.5, it was a few days ago, but starting to move in the Seahawks' favor. Give me the 5 points. This is another matchup where, listen, the Lions win over the Chiefs was impressive. All right. First game of the season on the road. It's impressive that they got the win outright there. But I think the market is very much overvaluing the Lions here and undervaluing the Seahawks, for that matter, losing last week and only scoring 13 points against the Rams in that loss too. And I like that we get the value on Seattle here just based on last week's results. You can't forget that the Lions win. Yes, it was impressive, but it was without a Chiefs team without two of their best players besides Mahomes. I mean, Kelsey was out. Chris Jones, their stud D lineman, was out. So the Lions offense was able to run the ball with Montgomery, lean on that. And obviously we all saw the pass catching woes that were abound with Kelsey out and these guys dropping passes left and right with Mahomes. That game could have easily gone differently. So I think the spread should be probably more like a field goal, in my opinion, in the Lions' favor. I put these teams pretty much even, and I think being at home is you give the Lions those 3 points, right? So I think getting 5 here is some value on the Seahawks. So give me them to cover here.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on Wednesday's show, actually, is when we were taking like a little early look at it. Yeah. And I think it was 5.5 at that point, which we definitely liked. There are some issues with the offensive line for Seattle. Both tackles out. Cross is out on the left side. Lucas is out on the right. Lucas actually just landed on IR. I was talking to John and Pemba about this on the DFS show, and he's still very much in on Geno Smith. So, I mean, if we're led to believe that this offensive line will be fine, we'll be able to give him enough pass protection, then yeah, I think we're really overvaluing what the problems that the Seahawks had last week. And yeah, I think that the Seahawks as the dog here, I think it definitely works, even on the road.
Yeah.
Even on the road. You just mentioned the Chiefs also, because you were talking last week's game there with there. So you and I we've got picks on this one here.
Yeah, we're differing.
Yeah, but we're differing, but we're not differing, because I think you can do it. You can do both of these bets at the same time and profit.
Okay, I see what you're going here.
You got the Chiefs -3.
Uh-huh.
All right. I got the Jaguars +3.5. The line had just moved on DK. So if you go and you look at some other books and you see that it's still 3 and not 3.5, I think you can. This is a game that I think I think it goes. It's a massive shootout. It goes the over the 51. But I think the Chiefs, I think this is why there's Pat Mahomes. And it's like one of those kind of situations there where the Chiefs end up winning the game, but that half a point that you're getting there from the for the Jaguars when the line moved, I think you can do that. Chiefs -3 at worst for you is a push. Jaguars +3.5 saves you from that field goal.
Yeah. I just figured, I guess you were more on the Jags side, but you do think like the Chiefs should win this game, right?
Yeah. Okay. I've got him in the confidence pool picks
over
at fantasyalarm.com.
I was afraid there for a second.
I've got the Chiefs winning the game, baby. Come on, sir.
Okay. All right.
We're vibing. I told you.
Listen,
beginning of the season vibes.
I think, yeah. So I do tentatively agree on your. I do think it could be like a 2-score win for the Chiefs, though. So I might stay away from the Jags against the spread, but I like the -3 here. And if the line has moved a little on like the official lines, go get like an alt line and pay a little bit for the -3, so you can get that, in my opinion. Listen, it's Mahomes off a loss. I mean, the guy has proven over the years that he's going to rebound. After a loss, he's 14-3 straight up over his career. Only 9-8 against the spread, though, which is a little worrisome. But the 14-3 straight up after a loss proves that he's going to come out big. As a -3 favorite or less, or as an underdog, he's 19-6-1 against the spread over his career. A guy that, I mentioned last week at the Lions, when the spread starts getting a little bigger, we like to fade Mahomes because this is against the spread record. It has not been great. And that was obviously the Lions won outright. But when he starts becoming a smaller favorite, or if he's ever an underdog, you like taking him to win and possibly win by bigger. The Chiefs under Mahomes are 4-0 straight up against the Jaguars too over these last few years. 3-1 against the spread against the Jags. We saw them match up twice last year. 9.5-point spreads for both those games, and the Chiefs won and covered both. I think, I love Trevor Lawrence. I praised him a lot this offseason. Love the Jags. I just think that the Chiefs are coming out with a vengeance. They got Kelsey back. They got Chris Jones back. This is a tough spot, even on the road or at home for the Jaguars to kind of hold serve. Andy Reid's kind of got a leg up on Doug Peterson, I think, as his little prodigy. So, give me the Chiefs to win here.
I think, listen, if you can bet it the way I'm telling you to bet it here, with taking the Chiefs -3 and then also getting the Jags +3.5, the worst that could possibly happen to you here in this is that, the Chiefs, you push with the Chiefs win by 3. It's a push there, but you win your bet with the Jags +3.5. If the Chiefs destroy the Jaguars, well, you had the Chiefs -3 anyway, and the Jags +3.5 was just a hedge. So, I think
I got
it's you. It's you gotta play that game. Got to play that game because, I mean, this is a tough game to call because my heart genuinely wants the Jags to win this game. Just because I want to see Cincinnati and the Chiefs both start 0-2.
That'd be hilarious.
I think it's just great for the game. It's great for the excitement factor of it. So
it'd be a great game to watch. I agree with your high scoring, possible over in this game, but
this is the game that everybody wants to watch. Yeah. Like that's kind of how I'm thinking is going to end up happening, which means, of course, it's going to be 6-3 at halftime, and everybody's going to be messaging me being like, "You're such a loser." Nevertheless, Broncos, I gave this pick out on Wednesday. I said I was going to bet it. I was playing the percentages, and I'm just going to bet it because I'm playing the percentages. Broncos -3.5. It's, minus 110 on DK. Broncos over the last 5 years, September home games, 11-6 3. 11-6 3 against the spread. They did not cover the spread. They didn't win last week, so they didn't obviously cover that spread. I'm just playing the percentages here for another home game in September for the Broncos because this is their last home game. The last four seasons, it's been a lot closer to 500, or the last 3 seasons. 4 games. Last 4 games, it's been closer to 500, 4 sets. So, boom. That's where I'm at. So I'm taking the Broncos minus the 3.5 here, just playing percentages on that.
I really like this bet. You and me have talked about this on the show a few times, saying that the Broncos at home in September. You just went over those numbers. I also think this is a big letdown spot for Washington, coming off, their first sellout at home crowd last year or last week in a while because of, Dan Snyder selling the team. They got new ownership. The crowd was into it, and they still weren't able to cover against the Cardinals team last week. So that is telling, I think, but they were able to hold on for the win. But it got a little dicey there in the late stages. But I think, coming off that win, they got their dub, and going on the road to Denver, the altitude, all that, I do think it's a good letdown spot for them. So good call on that one. We got Mulroyd chiming in on the YouTube chat here. And if you got any questions, comments to throw at me and Howard, definitely chime in. But Mulroyd saying when the line opens, he'll be interested in ETN. I think that is receiving yards because they'll need to dump it off to ETN more. Good call there. Let me go look right now. Is it not live right now? ETN's receiving yards.
I don't know. There are a lot of lines. I was looking for a bunch of stuff that, prop wise, that wasn't really out and available. I agree with Mulroyd here also because, listen, you got Chris Jones, and he's great at helping stuff the run in between the tackles, and he's great at pass rushing. But the way you neutralize that is an outside zone run scheme or dump off passes to your running back. So if Chris Jones is in your face, just bloop right over there. And right into ETN's hands. So
I'm seeing on DraftKings 18.5 is the receiving yards prop that's out there for ETN, minus 120 to the over. So he could go over that in 2 catches. So I like that call, Mulroyd. Mr. Siphon saying that he likes Denver to win by 7. So he's with you on that one, Howard.
I love that. What's the alt line on that? Let me just I'm just curious to see what it is. I'm not going to bet it. I'll just, I'll just play it safe with the minus 3.5. But if it's a super tasty alt line, let's see.
I'm looking
by 7, it's plus 153.
Yeah.
So if you go to 6.5 here, it's still plus 134. So there you go, yeah. Mr. Siphon. You want to do that? If you believe in that, go for it.
Yeah, it is a low total game too, though. 39 is the over under there. So the Broncos still might struggle, but I think they'll limit Washington there at least. All right, so let's go to my next pick here. I got the Jets-Cowboys game under 38.5, a minus 110 on DraftKings. This is, I think, another situation we talked about this week was the Jets, if they want to stay in games now with Rodgers out, if they want to have a real chance at winning games, keep it competitive, their defense is going to have to step up. And it's already, it was already elite unit coming into the season. And we saw last week how much they frustrated Josh Allen, turned him over a bunch. They're going to need to play like that week in and week out now. It's only, I think they could take some games off, maybe this one against the Cowboys, if Rodgers was out there to bail them out and, put together late drives and all that. But this is a worry for the Jets now because Zach Wilson under center is just a complete step down, obviously. So the defense needs to show up. We just saw what the Dallas defense did last week to the Giants, shutting them out. I think they're going to really have success here against the Jets offense now that they just don't have like the downfield threat now with Wilson behind center compared to Rodgers. I mean, that they could lean on Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook a lot, and that's probably what they're going to do. And that kind of leads me to the under more because I see them just not having a ton of success on offense, going with the ground and pound. The defense going to show up, limit things on the Cowboys end. So, and the Cowboys scoring 40 points last week was definitely, elevated because of what the situation was in there. That they got a defensive or the special team score. So give me the under in this game.
You know what? I'll just move on from it so I don't have to discuss the Jets slander that I just experienced.
The Jets could win a 10-3 game. I'd be good with that.
Whatever, dude. Whatever. I just the way you spoke of it. It's not what you said, Servo. It's how you said it. It really, it hurts me right now, and I'm just gonna move on. I'm gonna say that just be on the lookout for the weather in the Boston area. Reports of the bomb cyclone. Is it going to hit? Is it not going to hit? Is everything going to miss or pass or whatever? Just look at the under, and it's 46.5 right now. And that's, obviously a lot to do with if the weather is clear and Tua does what he's supposed to do, and Mac Jones looked good last. I'm hoping for some really rainy, sloppy weather. Right. Just watch the line. If you start to see the line tick down, right, then just be careful. I wouldn't bet it under 45.5. If it goes down to 45.5, I would probably just say that's where I would do. If it went down to 45 with weather reports, then I'm just not going to be interested on that because you could have defensive touchdowns in there and you just don't want to, worry too much about it. But 46.5, 45.5, I would bet it down to as well, the under in that game. But just keep an eye on the weather. If the weather's clear, just stay away from the over-under altogether.
Okay. Well, I might have a pick that's kind of in line with this under here. So let's get right to our player props. But I got to remind people, if you haven't already, to go get the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription. You can start a free 7-day trial for the All-Pro sub over at Fantasy Alarm right now. Just go to fantasyalarm.com/NFL or scan that QR code right on the screen there. You can get all the Week 2 DFS content that's out there, all the betting picks for Sunday's games, props that we'll be having, all the reports that are out there, the target report, the red zone report, snap count report. It's all awesome stuff that I used, honestly, to give out some of these player props that I'm about to. So go get the All-Pro subscription right now and win in Week 2. Win your fantasy season long and win in DFS and betting.
I mean, that's the thing. You take it for the free trial right now, right? 7-day free trial. Make your money playing DFS. Make your money betting. Right, I'm gonna have a best bets article up there as well as
Howard went 8-1 last week with his bets. Okay,
8-1. I did.
If you go 8-1 with your bets, by following Howard, then you're easily paying for this All-Pro stuff.
I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, you got between that, you do all the underdog prop bet stuff, right? I mean, we do all of this. We put all of this in front of you. So DFS and betting. It's also obviously it's going to help you with your seasonal game too, but you take it for the 7-day free trial and then everything that you win this week, boom, you just put it towards your subscription. It's more than going to pay for itself. You stick with us this season. I guarantee you profit. I do. I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna, pay up the differences if you bet like a moron, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, be smart with it.
be smart with it, and you can profit, and we'll take
Yeah.
you through there. I'm already playing with house money in the NFL.
There you go.
Already playing with house money. So give me
some. Let's give him some more winners. Player props for week 2.
Oh shit, mine are terrible. Never mind.
Well, I mentioned earlier we both got one on this Bills game for the Bills offense. So I'll go first here. Josh Allen, give me his over 37.5 rushing yards. You get -114 on FanDuel right now. I am really looking at Allen to be motivated running it specifically. I think he's going to be passing a lot too. The whole offense, I think, is going to be clicking more. But his rushing yards specifically, when you look at his games after a loss, when he's on the field for after a loss, he's averaged 47 rushing yards per game over the last 3 years. And he last year he did it 2 of 3 times with 70 and 84 rushing yards. He's a guy that's I think he's going to be motivated, especially because he threw 3 picks and he had 2 fumbles, one that was given away last week. Which, by the way, he had 36 rushing yards last week in that game against the Jets. Could have been more if he didn't turn it over all those times. So I think he's going to be motivated to be making plays with his legs, also dumping it off, passing it all over. But I think specifically with the rushing, I think he's going to want to have a couple big runs, show people that he's legit. The Bills are legit. He's a real MVP candidate. And by the way, last year he went over this rushing yards prop, over 37.5 in 11 of 16 games. So he's a guy that consistently went over this. And I mentioned after a loss, he's going to be more motivated to show out. So give me the over on Josh Allen's rushing yards.
See, and that's the key is the game right after the loss, because Josh Allen is one of those guys who comes back the next game and be like, I'll show him.
Yeah.
Right?
He's got pride.
Right. He does. He's got a lot of pride. And I love that, it was like, but like finding something like that, I think is very important. It was like when you and I were talking baseball early in the season, and I was telling you that, it was either last year or the year before. I think it was the year before, where I just kept making money off of Vladimir Guerrero total bases props just for the game after he goes over, because he never goes over 2 games in a row. And once you find something like that, you stay with it and you hit it. And yes, there will be times where you lose, but there will be more times when you end up winning. And you're citing the numbers that you're citing here for Josh Allen are numbers that you got to look at and you have to pay attention to. Let that trend be your friend. So I'm in on that. And then, I'll double down on this Bills game here. James Cook over 66.5 rushing and receiving yards. I like the fact that he stays active in the passing game as well. They are giving him that work. And, while yes, maybe in the second half when the Bills are up, they throw a little bit, a little bit of extra touches to Damian Harris. But for the same token, you're going to want to keep Damian Harris protected, and he's a little bit more frail. So why not here in week 2, let James Cook run the ball out, and chew up that clock in the second half. I figure between I think his rushing yards were 50.5. I think it was like right around there. So to see them get, an extra 16.5 yards, 17 yards through the air, I think that's a pretty safe bet there. So -120 on DK. Give me those prop numbers.
Yeah, I like that. I love seeing him be involved more in week 1. And he could have had a better game than he did, but good call on that one, because I do think he's going to be a huge part of this offense, outside of Diggs, and we'll see if Kincaid starts doing more, but I do think Cook is a huge part of this offense. All right, I'm going T. Higgins over his receiving yards. He went catchless, got last week. So you know what, Howard? He's due.
Hey, it's not so much that. I said to him, Pemba, in the DFS show, I was like, who I'm playing everywhere? T. Higgins. Why? Because nobody's going to play him.
Yeah, no one's going to play him. But listen, he was targeted 8 times last week, and he had credit to, I mentioned, the target report by Kevin Tompkins. Go check it out right now on Fantasy Alarm. And he points out in that article T. Higgins had 151 air yards with his 8 targets last week, more than Jamar Chase had, most on the team for the Bengals. So I know him and Burrow weren't connecting. There's some deep balls that they didn't connect on, but a couple of those catches come through, and his receiving yard, he's over 60 receiving yards in this game. So I think it's a good sign that he's still plenty involved, targeted 8 times last week. I think him, the Bengals offense, Joe Burrow gets more on the same page, bounces back. I think Joe Burrow bounces back here for this rivalry matchup against the Ravens. And we actually saw a similar thing happen last year in week 1. Higgins only had 2 catches for 27 yards in that week 1 game. Week 2, he came back, had 71 receiving yards. So I see a similar thing happen there. He also averaged 73 receiving yards per game last year in his 14 full games played, and had 60-plus receiving yards, so over this prop in 8 of 14 games full games last year. So give me T. Higgins to bounce back in a big way.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love doing that. When nobody's on a guy, I'm definitely on a guy. Anthony Richardson, I talked about this with the Colts. Being a road dog like this against Houston, still Anthony Richardson, his passing yards, I liked it more at 199.5 a day ago, but it's, everybody hammered the under on that, and it's down to 197.5 passing yards for Anthony Richardson, and I'm okay with it. I'm definitely fine with it. I think we're going to see, he's going to take off a lot. I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of passing. I don't think we're going to, need a huge amount either. I think, Zach Moss is going to be back for the Colts. So I kind of feel like, I don't think Anthony Richardson needs to throw heavily in this game. So, the under 197.5, I like that for minus 115.
All right. This is, I like it because this is a rare, you're back in the Colts on the spread, as you talked about earlier, but you're still taking the under on a Richardson prop. But, it's like a, game flow, and the Colts can still get it done, even though he won't pass for a lot. So good call. All right. I'm going with Ramondre Stevenson, over 50.5 rushing yards. You were talking about the Patriots-Dolphins game possibly having some weather issues. This is Sunday Night Football for this week. But overall, I do think the Patriots are going to want to lean on the run game, lean on Stevenson and Zeke, but I think more so Stevenson, to just grind out longer possessions, keep the ball away from the Dolphins offense, and keep it away from Tua connecting deep to Tyreek a bunch. They're going to want to shorten this game up and really, make it a defensive matchup, but also on their side, grind out these long possessions. They're going to feed Stevenson. It does worry me a little bit that Zeke was, involved a bunch last week. Maybe going forward, we'll see how these carries split up, but last week, he's still, Stevenson still got 12 carries, only 25 rushing yards, but this was against a really good Eagles run defense that we saw last night too. And I expect to bounce back because he's got a Dolphins defense that just gave up 233 rushing yards to the Chargers.
Right?
Austin Eckler and Josh Kelly both went for 90-plus rushing yards in that game. And the Chargers, handed it off 40 times to their backs, and Herbert running the ball a little bit too. But I think they had a similar game plan where they wanted to kind of keep the ball away from the Dolphins as much. It didn't really go as planned completely, but I do think Stevenson is going to get 50-plus or over 50 rushing yards. He did it in 8 of 11 games last year when he got double-digit carries, by the way. I think he's getting double-digit carries here. I see him getting the ball, 15 times maybe, and I think he's going to get over 50.5 rushing yards.
I can dig it. All right. I don't have another prop for everybody, but what I can do is I can tell you what I'm watching for. Mulroyd said it in the chat. There are a lot of props that aren't out yet. And 2 of the props that I'm looking at, I posted an article on fantasyalarm.com today. It's also going to be in the New York Post over the weekend. And it's talking about, and from a fantasy standpoint, looking at, following the coaching movement. We've talked about it here all the time with the coaching movement and what you want to, what you're expecting. I want to see the receptions props for Logan Thomas and the reception props for Javonte Williams, because Logan Thomas led the Commanders in targets last week. All right. And he was targeted inside the red zone. It wasn't given credit for a red zone target. The ball was tipped. And therefore it just, but he was the intended target.
This might be Howard cutting out here. I think it's Adam, producer Adam. Let me know if it's me or Adam. Okay, it's me. It's Howard. But yeah, he was going with the Logan Thomas and Javonte Williams props out there. I will say, he posted this earlier, but it looks like some props are coming in. And I'll give him, he was just talking about Javonte Williams and Logan Thomas. Javonte Williams receiving yards is up on DraftKings. 11.5 is the total there. Minus 110 to the over, minus 120 to the under. And then Logan Thomas receiving yards is at 24.5, minus 120 to the over, and under is minus 110. So Howard was just talking about Logan Thomas and Javonte Williams. So look at both of their receptions props over on DraftKings. You can shop around, try to find the best line. FanDuel, BetMGM, or whatever, but he was just talking about Thomas and Williams before he cut out there for that Washington-Denver game. We'll see if we can get Howard back here, but we are going to give out some touchdown predictions for Week 2. So let's get to our Week 2 touchdown calls. Touchdown. Wow. Awesome. Awesome from our producer, Adam Bernard, there on the intro. All right. My touchdown prediction this week, I'm going with Jahmyr Gibbs, plus 110 on DraftKings. This is a guy that he could have scored last week. If people were watching that game, I'm sure you were, the Lions Chiefs game on Thursday night, you probably saw him fall down when he could have scored. He tried to cut it outside, and he tripped himself up a little bit and ultimately got tackled, but there was no one on the outside, and a clean cut gives him a touchdown there. The next play, David Montgomery comes in, gets the next carry, and scores a touchdown. So that could have been Gibbs's TD. Instead, it wasn't. But I think he's going to get back into the end zone here. I know I gave out Seattle earlier to cover the spread as underdogs in this game, but I do think that Gibbs is going to score because I think, I look at this matchup, Seattle last week against the Rams, they gave up 3 rushing touchdowns to the Rams running backs. So I think, Montgomery could score too, but I do think Gibbs can get in the end zone. I think eventually as the weeks go on, he's going to be more involved in this Lions offense, whether it's as a receiver or rushing. That's the thing with this touchdown. He could score a receiving touchdown and get in, but I do think he's going to be starting to get more and more involved. We saw some of the explosive plays he gave the Lions last week. I just think the Lions aren't going to go away from their run-focused offense with Montgomery and Gibbs being on the field plenty. So, give me Gibbs to score here. I'll give out Howard's 2 touchdown calls because he was going to say him here. Don't know his reasoning behind them, obviously, but I will give him out because he's on these. Saquon Barkley plus 100 is one he likes in the Giants game against the Cardinals. I could back that because the Cardinals defense, they gave up a touchdown to Brian Robinson last week. It was receiving, but I do think that Saquon could probably get in the end zone with the Giants favored there if they're handling this game. And then he also likes Mike Evans plus 145 on DraftKings to score against Chicago. I don't know his reasoning behind it, but I do like Chicago in that game. I almost gave that as a pick. I do think they're going to try to just grind it out and keep it a little lower scoring. I could see Baker Mayfield maybe having a little regression in this second game, but listen, Evans is always a candidate to catch a long ball and score. So I do like, taking a shot at him plus 145. It's probably longer odds than he should be. So, all right. So that's Howard's call. Mike Evans. He also likes Saquon. I gave out Jahmyr Gibbs for my touchdown call. We're going to get out here in just a minute, but do got to give out some betting picks for baseball tonight. And by the way, just wanted to give a shout out to Mulroyd over on the YouTube chat here. He gave out a couple props there that he likes. Khalil Herbert over 9.5 receiving yards, -110. Derrick Henry over 15.5. I guess that's receiving yards as well. And then Nick Chubb over 12.5 receiving yards, -120. So I do like Henry's props this week. I almost gave out his rushing attempts prop. I do think that he's going to be fed the ball. He could, in the receiving yards one, he could easily catch a screen and get over this in one catch. But I do think his overall involvement in the Tennessee offense is going to be more. He really didn't see as many carries as he normally would last week with the team trailing in the fourth quarter and throwing a lot more. But I do think only 3-point underdogs for the Titans in this matchup. And I do think he's going to get fed the ball more. So I do like his, I can go over his receiving yards, but I do like his rushing attempts prop is one I considered giving out here. All right, some betting picks for tonight. Go check out the my best bets article over on fantasyalarm.com. You can see some more explanation and an additional pick that I'm not going to give out here for tonight's games. But I like the Texas Rangers team total over 3.5. You got it. Might have changed, but I liked it at -145 on DraftKings. I just think this matchup, they got Lucas Giolito on the mound, and Giolito he's been very rough. 5.31 ERA over his last 5 starts, and since he joined the Tampa rotation at the deadline, he has a 4.29 ERA. Just has not been as effective, as shut down of a guy that he was with the Guardians. And I think the Rangers, they're starting to heat up. They're on a little win streak here. I'm sorry, I was reading numbers for Aaron Savali there for for him, but the numbers are actually worse for Giolito. Sorry about that. 8.44 ERA since the beginning of August for Giolito since he joined the Angels and the Guardians. It hasn't mattered. He's had some rough outings. But yeah, I was reading a line for Aaron Savali from yesterday, but the Rangers offense, yeah, they're on a win streak now. The offense is clicking. They've scored like 9+ runs in 4 of their last 5 games. This team total is just way too low in my opinion. And they're crushing right-handed pitching again over the past week. They are the best offense in a lot of categories against righties. So I think they're going to get the Giolito here because Giolito's really struggled since he came over to the Angels, since he came over now to the Guardians. It just hasn't gone well for him since he left the White Sox. So give me the Rangers team total. And the other one I'll throw out here is Johnny Cueto over 2.5 earned runs. Listen, he's facing the Braves tonight. I don't see how he's holding this Braves offense down. Cueto has allowed at least 3 earned runs. So he's been over this prop in 6 straight starts and 7 of his 8 starts overall this year. But lately, 6 straight, he's allowing 3+ earned runs. The Marlins, I wonder how long they really stick with him in the rotation if he just he keeps giving up runs. He's got a 6.64 ERA since the beginning of August. Just gave up 5 runs to the Phillies his last start. It's going rough for him, and I think the Braves really get to him tonight because, listen, it's the Braves. They're the top offense against righties all season. Haven't really slowed down, and lately, over the past week, 381 WOBA in the split, 238 ISO. And I just see Atlanta scoring at least 3 earned runs off of Cueto here. So give me the over on his earned runs. All right, so that's about it for this show. But if you missed any of it, me and Howard just broke down all of our NFL picks, and Howard was hot last week. So hopefully he keeps it going. Hopefully I get back on the snide and give some winners out. But appreciate everyone tuning in here. Again, if you missed it yesterday, I gave out a bunch of college football picks, and I have a best bets article for college football, and those games are tomorrow. So if you're looking to get some action in on college football before NFL on Sunday, definitely jump in there. Coming up a little in about 10 minutes here on Bettor Sports Network, go with the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS live show. John and Pemba and Colby Conway coming at you, giving your DFS advice tonight. 6 p.m. Eastern, we got the Alarm Fantasy Football Show. This is on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm. And then Saturday, by the way, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, we get the Campus to Canton Show, previewing all the college football games. It'll be awesome to tune into that as you guys are putting your bets in, putting your DFS lineups in. By the way, tonight, you can also, check out the DFS live show, John and Pemba and Colby Conway. And while you're doing that, check out all the Fantasy Alarm content for DFS tonight and for betting picks for this weekend, player props, all that good stuff. So, all right, appreciate everyone joining in here on a Friday. We'll be back tomorrow or on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, giving some Monday night football picks out, but hopefully our Sunday picks all cash and we get some winners there. But appreciate everyone tuning in here, and we'll catch you guys on Monday.
Are you ready for some football?
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.